Oh my, what an energetic little puppy. That's because this dog is extremely fond of sweets. It seems to detect a sweet scent on you. Oh, heavens no, I'm not even wearing perfume or anything of the sort. What the dog detects is the sweet scent of death! That is weird. How poetic! However, does that not imply that I committed a murder? Yes, actually. Wow, see, she gets it. She catches on to things real fast. Why can't all of you? That's what I think. Watinga! What? The warden is the murderer? Mr. Edgeworth, are you serious about your statement? How amusing. The very thought of a warden committing a murder. It sounds like something out of a mystery novel, which this technically qualifies as. Precisely, your reasoning is in contempt. My reasoning is sound, and it doesn't really matter what the profession of the person who did the murder was. If they did a killin', they did a killin'. Nothing of the sort. I've seen prosecutors murder. I've seen defense attorneys murder. I'm sure a judge is murdered at some point, then maybe if that happened, it's escaping my mind at the moment, but the point of the matter is, doesn't matter what your job is. Crime is crime. Nothing of the sort. I did not want to believe it myself, but based on the evidence, I have no choice but to believe it. The evidence proves that Warden Roland is the murderer. Well... Didn't this say... Yeah, has a sweet scent, right. I don't know why that she smells the way she does, but it would explain the smell. Why does it linger so freshly? The smell gave you away. Angry dog! As you can plainly see, someone has taken notice. This police dog? He tracked a sweet smell that came from the body. And right now, he is telling us that the same scent is also on Warden Roland. You're a cruel one to accuse me of murder based on my stank. Right, Justine, darling? I don't know, that's some pretty solid logic, oh boy. It appears that Judge Courtney has reached the same conclusion as I have. Mr. Edgeworth, this couldn't have been just a coincidence, could it? The key to the breaker room and the same scent on the body? If it were only one, it could have been seen as such. As I've always said in the many, many times in the past. Once, coincidence. Twice? I mean, once is an accident, twice is a coincidence. 3? Oh, now that's a pattern. It appears we have reached a conclusion. We should now listen to what the warden has to say. Indeed, until we do, we cannot close this case. Oh my goodness. Everyone with such scary faces. So, I'm the only one who could have been the murderer? Please stop doing that. This just cannot be. Alright, explain to me how you cannot be a murder person. I heard all about the case from Justine Darling here. Had I committed the murder, it would have taken place inside the holding cell. But I couldn't have moved the body. I never went into the prison. I was caught up in my work up until the show. I was stuck in my office. Check up on it if you like. You'll find there's no record of me entering the prison. I don't know what reasoning you had, but I can say for sure, I cannot be the killer. But Miss'll barked at you, pal. Miss'll never barks at anything other than murderers and, I guess, candy. You've got to be the culprit. Oh, heavens, it's not possible. I already told you, I never went to the prison. If you think I'm lying, why don't you check the records? She wants us to check the records. She does seem confident. For now, all we can do is listen to her and try to draw out more information. I do hope you understand, Mr. Edgeworth. I have a theory. Remind me, just for the briefest of moments. The tunnel. Wasn't the entire... Okay, well, it's not saying it. But wasn't the reason Missile found the tunnel because of the smell? Couldn't that mean that she ended up using it? That would make sense, yeah? So, but I don't think I can use it the way that I'm using it. Let's see. So, wouldn't if I check up on it if you like? There's no record of that. Okay. Then I think I need to do some pressing here. All right, hang on. What should we do, sir? This lady's got nerves of steel. Well, there's no record of her going to the prison, is there? The records won't help us at the present time. First, let's listen carefully and gather information. Right. Okay, I want to... check it out, let's press. You did not enter the prison from the entrance. But what if there was another route? Oh my, are you suggesting something like a secret passage? I am. I don't know if anything like that exists. It is my firm belief you did possess an alternate route. That route was neither the entrance nor a secret passage. Eh? The route you used was from here. Okay, so I guess my theory was wrong. Maybe I was just misremembering it. Okay. Route? Okay, so if it wasn't a secret passage, and it wasn't the entrance, then that gets rid of this stuff, and even a bunch of this. The courtyard's the only place that's left at that point, yeah? The barbed wire fence? You would have moved nightly to your office first. This office leads directly to the garden side of the courtyard, which nobody else is allowed to get to. If you had moved through here and passed the barbed wire fence, you would have arrived at the prison without passing through the entrance of Aura Tunnel. I wonder what Mr. Edgeworth is saying. Haven't you noticed? There's a high voltage current running through the fence. Yeah! Obviously she couldn't have passed through it like that. The current to the fence could be switched off at the breaker room. And you were the only one who had the key, Warden Roland. Oh, now what? Most amusing. However, the breaker room is located on the prison side of the courtyard. How would the warden have accessed it from the detention center? Ah, quite right. Gotcha there, Mr. Edgeworth. Okay. If there's no record of her passing through the prison entrance, it would not have been possible for her to turn off the fence's breaker. But Warden Roland was the only one who had access. Don't let this faze you, Miles. But if I don't have a solution for this, she'll get away. Well, Uncle Ray never said don't think, you know. It's just not good to be so stubborn about it, that's all. But no matter how you think about it, Warden Roland couldn't have done this alone. Prosecutor Edgeworth, if you have failed to come up with a new okay, let's just cut that right off at the pass. I am not amused, interrupting my judgment only to be silent. Without thinking, I just blurted out objection. I have to answer. I won't let this end here. You know, I remember somebody else who once said that they just blurted out objection without actually thinking. Just interesting, that's all. My reasoning is not over yet. So, how did she use the breaker without leaving the detention center? It's perfectly possible with this method. What made it possible to turn off the breaker? Her position as the warden, she had an accomplice timing of the, he said it himself. Couldn't have done it alone, so. I get you. It was indeed impossible for one person, but what if there were two? Exactly! Just what I expected from you, Miles. Yes, you had an accomplice on the prison side. Enough. I am disappointed in you, Prosecutor Edgeworth. What's that, Belle? You making fun of Mr. Edgeworth? Don't make me friggin' swanton bomb you. I'll do it. The inmates at this prison all wear bracelets. If they try and go where they please, they'll set off the alarm. Ah! So you've noticed. This is a prison after all. You know, way back when we talked about how weird it was that Frank's bracelet was so easily busted, that apparently he broke it by falling. You also remember how she, oh so very, now that I realize, very unsubtly just kind of sang his praises? Interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I think I might know where this is going. Not only the prisoners, but the guards too are under constant scrutiny. So why didn't anyone notice Albert? The only ones allowed to move around freely are the animals. And they certainly could not have used the breaker. I mean, if you put like a truffle on the switch, I don't know, a pig might have been able. It's still possible that a person did it. You keep saying that. Excluding the inmates and the guards, just what kind of person would you say it was? can't exclude the inmates and guards just yet. There was only one person, one whose movement was not restricted. This evidence shows that there was someone in the prison who could move around freely. Bing, bop, bada bada bum bum bow. That is, it looks like the bracelet worn by the prisoners. This belongs to a certain model inmate, and it's broken. What? Just who on earth does this belong to? Frank Sott, the warden's favorite inmate. Oh, that rattled ya. Don't you think it's strange? He managed to keep this hidden while he moved around freely in his daily prison life. You'd figure somebody somewhere would have noticed. Golly, when you think about it, it shouldn't be possible. Want to try and get out of that, maybe? I'd hazard a guess that this was because he was a special case. Just like Sirhan Doggin in the special cell. The prosecutor's statement is mere conjecture. You could find out by simply asking Sott himself. It is my firm belief that Mr. Sott and Warden Roland were partners in crime. Due to their collaboration, another route surfaces. The real route by which Knightley's body was moved to the prison. There were two obstacles that needed to be dealt with. The security camera in front of Knightley's cell, and the electric fence in the courtyard. By combining forces, they were able to do so no problem. Both these problems could have been solved with a single stroke. By having Sott switch off the breakers in the breaker room. Mr. Edgeworth, could you wait one moment? Do you still intend to deny it, Warden Roland? I give in. I confess. But Warden Roland! No, this cannot be! You didn't have a right proper breakdown. Yes, it's just as he says. Frank Sott and I were partners in crime. No way! You did it, Mr. Edgeworth. The music is not implying victory. Well done, Miles. At last we have the real culprit cornered. Like Mr. Edgeworth said, Frankie operated the breaker. But we were not responsible for Knightley's murder. What? Warden Roland, whatever do you mean? Judge Courtney, would the goddess of law hear my confession? The goddess of law is merciful. She will absolve you. I was being threatened. That's why I had no choice but to do as I was told. Who was threatening you? Sirhan Doggin, that assassin. Doggin? It's been going on since that man came to the prison. I will never forget that day. When we were both alone, he suddenly said to me, I have many dogs outside the prison. Dogs? Loyal dogs who obey my every command. I soon realized that what Doggin referred to were not really dogs, but his human henchmen. And that's not all he said. You'd better watch how you treat me, if you don't want you and your family to become dog food. Jesus. I had no choice. I gave him the special cell. I gave him anything he desired. Anything he desired? You don't mean the supplier? That's right. Anything he ordered, I would deliver to him. And underground dealership. I was the one who won over Frankie. It was simple. I just offered him special privileges within the prison. And these underground dealings? Once a week, in the middle of the night, Frankie would shut off 2 of the breakers. So I could move from my office to the courtyard without being seen by the security camera. I would go past the fence and drop the goods down the well near the prison. And then I'd sprinkle this perfume over it. I was right about the smell! Nice! So that's the true identity of the sweet scent and why it was in the tunnel. I was right, I just had to go a different route to find it. The scent of perfume was a signal for Doggin's dog. After picking up the scent, it would carry the goods to Doggin. Of course, this had to be done with Elbert while Elbert was away from his cell. I'm surprised he never found out about it, pal. We have a strict timetable here at the prison. Mealtime, exercise time. It's easy to know when he's away from his cell. And since little Rocky is afraid of Doggin's dog, I didn't have to worry about him making noise. So having full knowledge of the prison's inner workings, she made the deliveries herself. This would have ensured that there were no slip-ups. Frankie would turn the breakers back on in the early morning, and then the delivery was complete. I then modified the timestamp on the security camera. You have told us a great deal. The Goddess of Law accepts your penitent confession. As the warden of this prison, how could I have done such a foolish thing? The day Knightley was killed was also a delivery day. It seems Frankie was working the breakers as usual. But that day I had nothing to send, so I did not go to the courtyard at all. The secret of the supply system, so then Warden Roland was. The police have been searching for Doggin's henchmen for ages. I've also been helping them, but I've been interrogating him personally in my office, but no matter how much evidence we have on him, we can't get a single word out of him. So the reason you kept on interrogating him, yes, it was to find his henchmen. I borrowed all the evidence from the police and carried out the interrogation myself. I kept an eye on all of his actions and examined all of his mail. Mail? Like his correspondence chest letters. But I could never uncover the true identity of his henchmen. The sphere. It's something you could never understand. Miles has had his life threatened on multiple occasions. I think he has an idea. Prosecutor Edgeworth, you were listening, right? I'd say this confession clears the warden of all suspicion. How? Is it really necessary to press her further than this? Only if you can explain to me how this confession tells us that she can't be also the killer. Is it necessary to press her further? Yes. Very clearly. Judge Courtney, my questioning isn't over yet. I'm sure the Goddess of Law isn't satisfied yet either. You mean to badger this woman further? No, I wish to unveil her as the killer. Just because she has an actual reason for why she did what she did doesn't mean anything. Granted, I still don't know why Knightley specifically, but I mean, it just sounds to me like she confessed to a lesser crime to get away from a bigger one. She's still the only person who could have done this, even if she was threatened by Doggin. This does not prove she was not the culprit in this case. It doesn't, not at all. She was able to use the supply route to transport Knightley's body. Do you have any evidence to support this? The body gave off a sweet scent. The scent of perfume that was used to signify a delivery. Can you explain this fact? Oh, of course. Since I've made so many deliveries, the scent would have lingered around the well. When the body was moved through the well, the scent would have transferred to it. Mr. Elbert also testified to this fact. That's it. For some reason, that well gave off a nice scent. A nice scent. I don't know what it was, but it smelled sweet, like candy. The lingering scent in the well would, of course, be picked up by anything passing through. The defense rests, I see. In that case, court is adjourned. Oh, shut your face. Mr. Edgeworth! Isn't there anything we can do? What should I do? Is this as far as I can go? Is it over already? Yes, Sebastian, it is. And now, court is officially adjourned. You have literally no jurisdiction in that regard. Your gavel means nothing. Who was that? Ray? It's not nice of you to adjourn things just like that, Courtney Pye. Mr. Shields? Are you objecting to the court adjourning? Well, yeah, there's the fact that this isn't a court, and you can't do that. Of course not. I ain't got no objection or anything like that. Go ahead and adjourn court. Do whatever you like. Hey, what are you doing, Mr. Shields? Oh, there, calm down, Kay. Who wants some chocolate? Is this a joke? You'll have to excuse me. I just have one tiny request to make. As Simon Key's attorney. That's right. You're the defense attorney in charge of this case, aren't you? It's kinda easy to forget that sometimes, but yes, exactly. Did you all forget? That's so mean. But you just left everything to Mr. Edgeworth and didn't do anything at all. Yeah, that's right. That's why. I thought I'd do my job a bit. Do your job? That hardly sounds like you at all. Damn, Vern. It's to prepare for the trial. I'd like to ask the warden a few questions. Shirley, you jest. He's not Shirley, he's Ray. What more would you expect to hear from her? Well, Miss Warden, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the culprit. My thoughts? Uncle Ray believes that Simon is not the culprit. It seems that Miss Warden also suspects someone other than Simon. I'd like to hear you out. Yeah. Who do you think did it then? Mr. Edgeworth, what's Mr. Shields up to? He's trying to lure Warden Roland into testifying. Why was the supply route used to transport the body? I'd say it was to pin the crime on Doggin. I see! If he committed a murder here, he would be transferred to another prison. One with tighter security. Which he really probably should be going to anyway. And that would get rid of the troublemaker. Exactly. She wouldn't pass up a chance like that. Hey, hold on a sec. A culprit besides Simon? What do you mean? Simon was the one I was supposed to prosecute. Exactly. So wouldn't it be better if the best also listened to what she had to say? Amazing, Mr. Shields. You managed to drag Mr. DeBest into this too. Warden Roland, is this acceptable? Oh, you. It's fine, it's fine. You understand a woman's heart. Thank you, mademoiselle. Actually, I've thought this over. I'd like to tell you my thoughts. I'm listening. You'll let me speak, won't you, Justine, darling? Of course. You may speak. Mr. Shields, awesome! That was a close shave. Thank you, Mr. Shields. No, I'm still leaving the rest to you. Remember what I said? The defense attorney never gives up. The fate of our client rests on our shoulders, after all. And it'd be uncool if Uncle Ray didn't put that into practice. Now then, Miles, it's your turn to show you'll never give up. Right. Well then, will you listen to my story? I will, and I will pull it apart. It'll be a good time. I believe that the culprit in this case could only have been Doggin. I have no idea what transpired between Doggin and the victim. It simply could have been that Doggin was displeased with him. In any case, he was the one who stabbed the victim to death. He probably had a dog dispose of the body. This is the truth of the case. So you say, so you say. The victim, Mr. Knightley, was it? I think it is a truly terrible thing. Taking a man's life, you mean? That's how you'd go about saying it, isn't it? If only I'd been more vigilant, his death would have not happened. That's why I want to clear up his regrets. Warden Roland, how considerate. I'm sure Mr. Knightley in heaven is overflowing with gratitude. He was a murderer. Is gratitude really what Knightley feels? Not only was he more than most likely murdered by her, he was, okay, even if he wasn't a murderer, he was an asshole. What's he doing up there? Many questions, no answers. All right then. So I have no idea what transpired between Doggin and the victim. It simply could have been that Doggin was displeased with him. In any case, he was the one who stabbed the victim. Okay, let's talk about this, eh? I'd like to hear your thoughts about the circumstances surrounding the murder. Well, I suppose it was a simple job. During his booking, I learned that the victim had some kind of injury to his neck. He couldn't turn his neck to the right. I remember him saying something like that. Booking. That's the process one undergoes before being locked up in the detention center. Usually designated to Dano. It sounds like you don't really know a lot about Knightley. I only know a little. In any case, he would have been an easy target for Doggin. Perhaps he used the chisel hidden in the chessboard? The victim wouldn't even have had a chance to scream. I see. Your opinion will be a very valuable reference. Could you add those last statements to your testimony? Oh, you're making me blush. You're so C-U-T-E. Ugh. I'm just kidding. You're actually very ugly. I'll continue. Alright, perhaps he used the chisel hidden in the chessboard. Okay. Just gonna throw this out here. You just literally said that you don't know anything about Knightley? How did you know anything about this at all if you didn't know that? That's a pretty detailed piece of information to just casually toss out for someone you don't know. Warden Roland, you certainly are sharp-witted. Enough with the titles. Call me Patty. P-A-T-T-Y. Yeah, you are certainly not the mayonnaise for me. However, there's something you are a little too knowledgeable about. No one's gonna get that reference. Embarrassed? You're such an inexperienced child, Edgeworth, dear. Be that as it may! Fight on, Mr. Edgeworth! said you didn't really know much about Knightley. If that's the case, how did you know about the chisel inside the chessboard? Oh, of course, the entrance check. Really? Enough with the poor excuses. The entrance check? The chessboard wasn't something Knightley brought with him. It was brought to him later by Mr. Keyes. He didn't even have it when he arrived here. That's my mistake. I meant the parcel check. Oh, well, isn't that convenient? Even if we assume that, there are still many suspicious points. Why wasn't such a chisel immediately confiscated? Judge Courtney, did you tell anyone about the trick to the chessboard? I did not. Isn't that interesting? If no information about our investigation was leaked, then how did you find out? You could not have examined this during the entrance check or parcel check. Certainly. Someone in the warden's position would never have let a chisel slip by. Exactly. So answer this, Warden Roland. When and how did you learn about the chessboard secret? Not a lot to say about that, do you? In that case, I shall answer for you. It is because... Okay, now this is happening. I give up, Edgeworth, dear. It is as you say. I interrogated Knightley. That's how I learned about the chessboard. But, please believe me, I didn't kill anyone. Enough. It would appear that we have uncovered some vital information. I'll ask you to testify once more, if that's all right with you. Come on now. No objections here. Thank you, Edgeworth, dear. I'll do my best. Really, please stop doing that. The sound effect. Ugh. Well then, Warden Roland, I trust there will be no lies from here on out. Her pool of lies is slowly running dry. Soon I will bring out her true nature. Let's friggin' go! I wouldn't go so far as to call it an interrogation. I always make sure to talk to all the new arrivals. Mr. Knightley, yes, we had a little chat. After our talk, he went right back to his cell, I assure you. She's piling lies on top of lies, not realizing that it only tightens the noose around her neck. You speak with the new prisoners, you say? That's right. I'm glad you understand. Your testimony is not solid evidence. It requires more than just understanding. Well then, Prosecutor Edgeworth, you may begin your cross-examination. Alright, okay, let's see here. When called an interrogation, always make sure to talk to everybody. Mr. Knightley, yes, we talked. After our talk, he went right back to his cell, I assure you. Can we get more info about that, possibly? See, if he really returned to his cell, there's no way he would have been a corpse now. I know you're suggesting that I killed him during the interrogation, but I couldn't possibly have had a motive to kill Knightley, could I? Doggin was the only one I hated, and he had no connection with the victim. Interesting. Oh! Yo! The motive! She said earlier, she's checking every single tiny little insignificant scrap of information on Doggin as she gets it. That includes his mail, his correspondence letters. That means, from her perspective, and maybe just through pure paranoia, she saw the correspondence letters and thought Knightley was one of those henchmen that was sent to kill her. So she killed him first under a false assumption. But Doggin didn't do that. He said that he didn't even know that that was who he was playing chess with. It all comes together. She only hated Doggin. Please add that statement to your testimony. The only one I hated, and he had no connection with the victim. You have just sealed yon fate, y'all. Let's see, where is the thing? Here it is! Objection. Bringing it home. Judge Courtney, I'd like you to have a look at this. It looks like a record of a chess game. Is there something wrong with it? Well, yes, the pieces are all over the place. It's abysmal. This was discovered in the victim's cell. It was Knightley's memo. Warden Roland, you also discovered this note in the very same place. And not just in Knightley's cell, but in Doggin's too, correct? What are you? Don't say that you don't know about the chessboard in the special cell. You delivered it! After all, you would have kept an eye on Doggin's actions down to the smallest details. No, to be more precise, it wasn't Doggin that you needed to keep an eye on. The Warden was searching for Mr. Doggin's henchman! From the start, I found it strange that the Warden interrogated the prisoners personally. Oh, see, that's why she... Oh, since he used the henchman to threaten harm to her family, Warden Roland interrogated Doggin to expose them. So what are you saying? As you inspected Doggin's mail, you must have known that he played correspondence chess. And then Knightley appeared with a chess memo in hand. We deduced that he and Doggin were connected. You must have arrived at the same conclusion as well. However, you went one step too far in your reasoning. You thought Knightley was one of Doggin's henchmen, who had come to kill you. So that's why you interrogated Knightley boy. If the boss won't crack, go after his henchmen. In addition, you discovered something when you were interrogating him. Inside his chessboard, you found a portable chisel. That was just gonna completely validate all your concerns. He brought a weapon in. He was trying to murder her, from her perspective. The murder weapon. To Warden Roland, the chisel was a symbol of Doggin, and that was the final straw. That's right, because he also Boom. You believe Knightley was one of Doggin's henchmen, and you killed him! It seems there will be no rebuttal. Judge Courtney, your verdict! Though it is incredibly unfortunate, there seems to be no room for doubt. I shall announce my verdict for the murder of Horace Knightley. Roland. Twice my sacred verdict has been interrupted! Who was that? Warden Roland? How strange. You guys really don't understand anything. It would seem the one who doesn't understand is you. Me? Oh, I understand one thing very well. There is a huge contradiction in your logic, Mr. Edgeworth. When she's cornered, she starts spouting nonsense. Pay it no heed, Judge Courtney. Your verdict. I am interested in hearing what the warden has to say. What? I thought so. I just have one thing I want to say. One? Please take a good look at the autopsy report. The autopsy report? The one I brought with me? I heard exactly what you said earlier, Justine darling. You said the wound was found 4 inches deep. 4 inches? No way. What's wrong with that? Could that tiny chisel really have made a wound 4 inches deep? Oh crap, that's a good point. Impossible! How could I have made such an error? Oh, forgive me, goddess of law. Well, I believe that overturns your hypothesis. What will you do now, Mr. Edgeworth? What do we do? It'll be all right, pal. Mr. Edgeworth always. Oh, damn, that's a really good point. Whoa, hey now, he's gone all white. Hey, you're a defense attorney, aren't you? Isn't there something you can do, pal? Do that turnabout thing. Make some earth-shattering objection. Uncle Ray's a hard worker, but without decisive evidence, we're just whipping a dead horse here. Does that mean it's hopeless? Think it through, Edgeworth, think it through. And also figure out something that I obviously don't know. The true killer is Warden Roland. If it's not her, then nothing that happens fits. But the chisel isn't the murder weapon. There were multiple stab wounds, so I suppose it could have been stabbed in later. Are there any other sharp objects here? The gator! There's something in the gator! There are still many mysteries remaining in this case. However, we do not have the evidence to solve them at this present time. Edgeworth, say something, Edgeworth, say something, Edgeworth, say something, come on! We have no choice but to continue this battle in the courtroom.
Objection!
Still, weird voice. That would just give the killer a chance to destroy evidence. Are you mocking the court? A little bit. No, I didn't mean anything like that. You look perplexed, Miles. Thought of anything yet? The chisel is not the murder weapon. In that case, what is? It's no use. We're back where we started. No objections, Prosecutor Edgeworth? No, it's the gator. There's something in the gator. Any baseless statements will be punished accordingly. Come on, Miles. Come on. It's no good. I can't think of anything. I need more time. I regret to say I have no... No! Mr. Edgeworth, remember what Mr. Shields said. If we give up, Simon will... Have you forgotten that sad look on his face? He was the one who suffered most from Knightley's death. If we can't save him, who will? Besides, Simon believes in us, so we can't give up. Okay. Miles, looks like you found a good partner. It's like little Kay says, whenever you're backed into a corner, think of your client. Keep fighting until the very end. Isn't that the feeling you're getting? Gregory, your old man. No matter what trouble he faced, he would always turn things around and save his client. You've got his blood in you, right? In that case, you're the only one who can turn this around. Judge Courtney, the look in your eyes has suddenly changed. If you do intend to speak, you'd better be prepared to face the consequences. Your logic thus far has been misplaced numerous times. Yeah, but each stumbling block has been one step closer to the actual truth. If this were to happen again, I will consider you unfit to call yourself a prosecutor. And you will hand over, badge this, badge that, whatever. That's right. My reasoning about this case has indeed been misplaced numerous times. Have I made a grave miscalculation? Wait. My logic is... misplaced? Still silent. I cannot condone this waste of time. Well then, Mr. Edgeworth! Mr. Edgeworth! I will announce my verdict. That's it. I have to turn my logic around. My logic isn't misplaced, it's been misled. The court finds the defendant, Simon Keyes. Nope. Smug. Isn't it a little early to hand down a verdict? I actually think it's rather late, don't you agree, Justine, darling? Yeah, you would want things to end. Enlighten us. Try to remember. The eyewitness account about his dog and his absence from the animal show. When I first heard that information, my suspicion immediately fell on Doggin. I'm amazed you take such pride in retelling your previous failings. I will judo you, woman. Let me finish my talking. But, was that not the killer's aim? What if we assumed that was their intention from the start? Of course, the chisel served the same purpose. Knightley's body was stabbed in the same spot with multiple sharp objects. This shows that he was stabbed with the chisel after the real murder weapon was removed. By soaking the chisel in Knightley's blood, the killer wanted to mislead us into thinking the chisel was the murder weapon. Why? That's because... Why did the killer want us to think the chisel was the murder weapon? It was the murder weapon to get Knightley expelled, to get Doggin expelled. Yeah, to get Doggin the hell out of here so she could stop being so threatened and actually sleep at night. Warden Roland, you made use of this chisel's image. Chisel's image? What are you trying to say? Mr. DeBest, when you see this chisel, what does it suggest to you? Something like Doggin is the killer, right? You get a cookie, my good sir. Now, do you understand? That was the warden's aim. Yeah, she wanted us to suspect the person with the chisels. Indeed, that was her plan from the very beginning. To make Sirhan Doggin out to be the killer. I understand your logic. It is true the warden did not think kindly of Doggin. But, you understand, don't you? This alone does not prove she is the killer. As I thought, it's not enough. The remaining chance is for me to find the real murder weapon. It's in the gator! If you have no more evidence, I believe this conversation is over. I do! I could prove it if I found the real murder weapon. It doesn't matter what you say. We did a clean sweep of this place. Did you do a clean sweep? A clean sweep of that crocodile's bowels? It is as Sebastian says. In the end, we could... She kept feeding the gator. In the end, we could not find any weapons. In other words, such proof is impossible. Bull plop! Gator plop! No, the murder weapon must still be somewhere in the prison. As long as this exists. The security gate? You remember its name after all. Are you mocking me? It's because of those things that you can't take metal objects and are out of this place. Yatta, yatta. Right. As long as those security gates exist, the murder weapon should still be here. That also means no weapon could have been brought into the prison. In the end, we're back to the same mystery after all. Judge Courtney? Prosecutor Edgeworth? Surely you've realized, if the real murder weapon is still in the prison, one must also consider how it got there in the first place. The chisel was concealed within the chessboard, but the chisel is not the real murder weapon. Which means the real murder weapon must have been smuggled in somehow. The way it was smuggled in. Can you prove that? I can! How Warden Roland brought the weapon into the prison? When it was confiscated off of Doggin! He never did get his knife back. He had and he was wondering why the bell was on the Yo! You have evidence transferred from the precinct? Yes, we borrowed all the evidence concerning Doggin. I've been interrogating him personally in my office, but... I got it! That's it! She could have used that! This shows another way. She also had the bell. She was the only one with access to the bells! She could have easily tied it to the chisel that are in his... Ah! Ah! Professor Edgeworth, so that's how you bring metal objects into the prison. I'm a professor now? Okay. Indeed. With this, even something metal can be... Okay. Exactly how does that let metal objects be... What? Be brought into the prison? What? You really can't use that bring... What? Professor Edgeworth, I'm disappointed in you. What? What? So there really isn't a way to bring metal objects into the prison? No, there is a way. Okay, I guess I'm missing a point. And this shows that method. I'm not sure if I should say this in front of Kay. This shows another way a weapon could have been brought in. What? Oh, I'm a complete and utter moron! Okay. Okay. At least my wrong throwing of evidence had some bit. The bell was still associated. Okay. Anyway, yesterday Doggin said this. Yes, my bells. There are only 2 in the world. Only 2? They're custom made, attached to my knife and Anubis's collar. Even though I can only rely on my ears, I can easily identify them. Alas, one has been confiscated and is not in my possession. It's possible the murder weapon was brought in as confiscated evidence! Doggin's knife was confiscated and stored on the premises. Furthermore, a bell was attached to the knife. It can't be! The bell on that chisel! Exactly! The killer took it from the knife and reattached it to the chisel. But the only fingerprints on this chisel are Knightley's. The killer probably wore gloves when they made the switch. She made the chisel out to be the murder weapon by attaching Doggin's bell. And in doing so, made Doggin appear to be the culprit. Furthermore, the handling of the set of evidence that this bell originally belonged to was only possible for someone with the proper authority. Who, sir? Who had that authority? Why don't we ask the warden what she thinks? You could find bells anywhere. Anyone could have attached it, right? They're custom made! I see. So you don't know. These bells are Doggin's trademark. There are only 2 in the world! What? What? And so, attaching the bell would naturally make you the killer. Do you have any evidence that I have the knife? You don't, do you? Of course, I understand. In that case, Mr. DeBest, I'd like to request an investigation immediately. But if you find it, it'd be problematic for me. That doesn't matter now, you buffoon! It is necessary that we reveal the truth. You are a prosecutor, are you not? I mean, legally. Well, even if you say that, curse this useless prosecutor! If only I still had investigative rights. Besides, we can't investigate without the warden's permission, right? There's no way she would approve. We have no choice but to investigate ourselves. If you don't have evidence, there's no use in continuing this conversation. The goddess of law does not smile upon those with no evidence. This will have to be continued in the courtroom. The gator, 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 the gator. No good. If we give the warden more time here, she'll definitely destroy the evidence. It seems like I have no choice but to raise an objection and stall for time. But I don't have anything definite. Is that really acceptable? Bluff it till you make it, yo! Is it really like me to do something this reckless? No, not good. Now is not the time for hesitation. Right now, I'm not a prosecutor, but an attorney's assistant. I need to protect my client. I'm the only one who can save him now. In that case... even if it's a 1 in a million chance, I have to take it. It's sink or swim. Should I raise an objection? Hell yes! Smug, smug, smug. It almost feels like I've turned into a certain bluffing defense attorney. Ha! About time you brought that up. But right now, I can't come to a standstill here.
Objection!
Hold it! No, you said objection. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what now? I just realized something. What would that be, pray tell? Naturally, the whereabouts of the real murder weapon. Doggin's knife. Mr. Edgeworth, is that really true? Yes, though it is a lie. I find that hard to believe. This isn't a bluff, is it? You underestimate me. The word bluff does not exist in my dictionary. Then again, neither does Ouija, and that's a real crime. This is bad for my heart. There's no way you could know, because such a thing doesn't even exist. Well then, could you enlighten us? Where is the real murder weapon? Think. Somewhere the police didn't look. A blind spot in this animal-filled prison. A hiding place the warden would have complete confidence in. Hiding place? Come to think of it. It was inevitable. Anubis, show them your mouth. Weapon inside of an animal. The same method? No, it couldn't be, could it? But there aren't that many ways to hide things from an investigator's eyes. What better to stop an investigator than an alligator? Prosecutor Edgeworth, how long do you intend to keep us waiting? It's possible, but I'm taking a big gamble here. The place where the real murder weapon is hidden is in the courtyard, yo.
Take that.
Here, in the courtyard? Indeed. That's not enough information. Please, show us in more detail. Gladly! Where is the real murder weapon hidden? Inside this alligator! Investigate this gator! Investigator! That's it. Back then. What's the matter, detective? Looks like the metal detector's reacting to this alligator. Really? Why? Because there's a damn knife in there! Of course that's why the metal detector reacted. Judge Courtney, I'd like you to take a look at this. The chisel? Wasn't that just the fake murder weapon? Doggin hid this chisel inside his dog's mouth. And the real murder weapon was hidden in very much the same way. Oh, she knows. The real murder weapon is in the pond inside the alligator! Wah! Wah! We can confirm that the metal detector reacted to the alligator. Judge Courtney, please have the insides of the alligator examined. I give my consent. We'll have to call a veterinarian. I I can make that little girl open her mouth. I was gonna say earlier, Regina's been here the entire time. I hope she's enjoying the show. Can I help? Yes, go ahead. No. Warden Roland! Discovering the real murder weapon will settle this matter once and for all. Why don't you do the honorable thing and confess now? What would I have to confess? In that case, you can just wait for your fate to be sealed. We found it, sir! Just where you said it would be! It's over. Patricia Roland, the real murder weapon is none other than Doggin's knife. And the one who murdered Horace Knightley can only be you. Doggin was the evil one. I didn't do anything wrong. It was completely reasonable. That guy was one of Doggin's henchmen. Him. If only he had never come to my home. I could at least still be happy. My special paradise. He ruined it. All of it. Him. A no good assassin. Him. Well, that was just weird. I admit, I thought her breakdown would involve her coat in some manner, but, okay. Mr. The Best of the Best, we have the results. Don't call him that. The best of the best. Looks like even the forensics officers have it tough. We found traces of Knightley's blood on Doggin's knife. It was just like you said. You're the best, Mr. He took credit for my work. All right, good job. But don't stop there. Keep the praise coming. Yes, sir, you're so incredible. It brings tears to my eyes. From sorrow. Well done, Sebastian. Next comes up the follow-up investigation. Huh? What are you talking about, Justine? Hasn't the case been solved already? We have not yet confirmed if Knightley truly was one of Doggin's henchmen. There's also a chance that Warden Roland jumped to conclusions. Oh! That is the remaining uncertainty in this case. Anyways, let's keep investigating. Hey, you there, come with me. Since I'm the best, the truth will appear before me first. When that moment arrives, make sure you don't miss it. Yes, sir, I'm looking forward to witnessing your first-rate ability. Let's go! That's just sad. We live in troubling times, wouldn't you agree? Yeah, that guy's a prosecutor? The would-be assassin of the president was found murdered in the prison. Knightley had not planned to assassinate the president. The truth is not as vital as you seem to believe it to be. Excuse me? Not to the world, and not to the law. That can't be right! Believe what you will. However, as long as Prosecutor Edgeworth remains a prosecutor, it is an inescapable reality. A prosecutor is not someone who demands a guilty verdict. That is what I believe. Those are merely your values. The law is not the plaything of any one person. And yet here we are playing Yahtzee. If you will not submit to that, you will do well to prepare for the consequences. What's that supposed to mean, pal? Don't tell me you're gonna. Now then, this is where I must take my leave, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Ugh. Judge Courtney is right. The law should not serve any one person's desires. However, if the truth is bent as a result of that, can that really be called justice? Ah! Simon! And a monkey! Boss? What happened? They said you could come out already? Well, honestly, I don't know for sure. All of a sudden, they were like, you're free to go, and you should thank Mr. Edgeworth. Well, that's because he found out who the real murderer was. Really? He did? Mr. Edgeworth. Oh. No way. Even if you glare at me like that, it's useless. I'm innocent after all. You can't make me guilty. Simon. You should thank him, you know. You're right. Thank you very much. I want to thank you too. Good grief. Mr. Defense Attorney, can I ask you just one more question? Yes, you may. But I'm not a defense attorney. I thought that Knightley and I were friends. No, I mean best friends. I always thought we were. You don't think so anymore? I'm just wondering. There were some things I had no idea about. Like how he could hate someone enough to kill them. That's why... Maybe he never trusted me either? Simon, that's not true. You're lying. Because if I had known, I could have stopped him. I would have told him he had no need to be angry with anyone. Mr. Keyes, I don't think he disliked you either. Let's show him proof that Knightley trusted him. I mean, he had you deliver the dang board. That's the only thing I can think of. That's what I gave to. Knightley hid a chisel inside it. Most likely to aid in his escape. Escape? He used me? Yes, but... He trusted in you. He knew you'd bring it to him without looking into it and without question. And in doing just that, you were caught up in everything. Knightley, you idiot! Looks like he gets it. Simon's not as dumb as he looks after all. I'm sure he'll be back to normal by tomorrow. Was that supposed to be a compliment? Eh, close enough. I'll be strong. I'll become a splendid wild animal tamer, for Knightley's sake. Excellent. That's the spirit. Thanks for that. I almost forgot. If you'd like, please come to our next show. Hey, there's Maximilian. I'll also be performing in it. Very Big Circus is always fabulous and fun for all ages. Well, that sounds like fun. Let's go, Mr. Edgeworth. Well, I'll think about it. Happy bounce. Well, we need to get back to practicing right away. You'll be the regent today. What? The tiger? No way, no way, no way. It'll be fine. He's a good boy. No way. There's no way it'll be fine. Please cut me a break, boss. And there they go. But man, bravo, bravo. You really put on a good show today, Miles. It's all thanks to you, Mr. Shields. Without your help, she might have gotten away. Not to mention allowing us to continue the investigation in the first place. Oh man, cut it out already. You're gonna make me blush. I never know when you're being serious. Uncle Ray is always serious. So how was it, Miles? How did it feel to be a defense attorney? To save people? A defense attorney. But that really took me back. It was just like being next to your old man again. It's been a while since I felt this good. It was, well, it's somewhat difficult to say it was a good thing. Come on, Miles. Are you sure you don't want to be a defense attorney? What? You know, pick up where your father left off. Don't you want to save people like he did? What are you talking about, pal? Mr. Edgeworth is a prosecutor. Is it really that unusual for a prosecutor to become a defense attorney these days? Unusual isn't the problem here. Hey, don't be so upset. It's normal, you know? Normal. It's not. Normal, pal. You don't make for a powerful defense team. Mr. Shields, I am a prosecutor. And Uncle Ray is a defense attorney. That's why. I'm being serious about this. Well, that's just my opinion. Feel free to drop by anytime if you have a change of heart. I'll be waiting for you. I admit to being legitimately curious how Miles is gonna end this. Follow in my father's footsteps? Me? Become a defense attorney? I'm going to become a defense attorney just like my dad. Whoa. Should I become a defense attorney? Like my father? Oh, man. Okay, so, guys, here's the thing. I don't know a lot about things, but there is one thing that I do know. And it's that, basically, the next mainline Ace Attorney game in the series is Apollo Justice. And basically, it's, from everything I've been told, it's basically considered a soft reboot of things with like an entirely new cast of characters, basically. And I've been told that the greater majority of the characters we know don't make appearances at all. Which tells me that this is basically Miles's, like, last big moment in the sun, you know? Like, we're probably not going to actually see him, if at all, very much. So it's not impossible that they might make a shakeup like that. I'm very curious, I'll tell you that much. Whew, boy. And the next part, another case. Man, that one went on for a long time. How much long? Oh, good lord. How long is this game? I'll see you all next time.